It appears to be simply another garage at first glance, large, tidy, and packed with some vintage vehicles. But if you go deeper inside, you'll find something quite different. Not only is what lies behind those gleaming doors amazing, but it's simply unthinkable. How did this remain unnoticed? What can we learn about the actual Rick Harrison from it? You won't believe this is where he relaxes once you see it. So stay with us. Rick Harrison was already heavily involved with grease, gears, and fuel before he rose to fame on the television show Pawn Stars. Harrison's life was centered on the pawn trade and a severe car fixation, even before he was famous on reality TV or in Vegas. It took time for that passion to grow. It began early. He began working in his father's auto repossession company, at the age of 13, balancing it with hours at the family pawn store. It was more than a job. Harrison freely refers to it as the start of his car obsession. It's also not hyperbole. His collection of almost 30 automobiles includes anything from tough classics to oddballs and everything in between. A 1940 Chevy Special Deluxe, a 1968 Mustang GT Fastback, and a 1973 Volkswagen Thing, which he cherishes as his first automobile, are among of his most treasured vehicles. Basically, he adds of the VW, they're bulletproof. A 1947 Power Wagon, a 1973 Jeep, 2 Harleys, dirt motorcycles, a tractor, and a 1940 Indian Chief motorcycle, with a sidecar are also kept in his garage. Harrison, meanwhile, doesn't care about flaunting himself. It has to do with the machine's joy. "I'm addicted to cars," he states bluntly. "There'd be issues if I brought another automobile home. I already own a large number of autos." When the cameras stop rolling, that enthusiasm remains unwavering. He relaxes by getting hands-on with his machines. After long days of filming or working at the gold and silver pawn shop, "I'm a real guy," he confesses. "I can't sit still. I simply go home after work and work on the old automobiles or my machine shop." He has kept close to the track despite resisting the temptation to purchase a NASCAR vehicle, because they are quick, fierce, and wonderful. Harrison has been seen at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, even participating in fast-paced laps, while Richard Petty was driving. Even though he doesn't own a race vehicle, he thinks it amusing that Jeremy Clemens' Nationwide vehicle has his face on it during races in Vegas. He laughs. "I love it, but it makes me look like an ass." His experience driving hasn't always been glitzy. Harrison mentions a 1969 Oldsmobile Delta 88 he purchased for around $150. When asked about the worst car he has ever owned, he chuckles. "It had no back seat. I put 4 or 5 quarts of oil in it every week while riding it for about 6 months." Here's the question though. What happens when house design and that type of motor passion meet? Is horsepower reflected in a house? Join us to learn. It was more than just a look at a lavish Las Vegas home when Rick Harrison, star of Pawn Stars, opened the doors to his Red Rock Country Club residence in Summerlin. The man himself was reflected in it. You can tell this isn't your average high-end offering as soon as you walk into the almost 9,000 square foot estate. Harrison's character and interests permeate every area of the house, particularly in the areas of personalization. He was greatly influenced by his passion for cars and admiration for well-designed, functional designs. Harrison, a self-described gearhead with a collection of 29 vehicles, went beyond simply constructing an 11th car garage. He employed automotive-grade paint, the substance that speaks to his automotive essence, throughout that room and other areas of the house. This high-performance industrial paint, which ranged in price from $500 to $1,500 per gallon, was applied to the crown molding and numerous doors throughout the house. Why? Harrison clarified that automobile paint offers more than just vivid, rich hues that conventional paints can't match. Additionally, it withstands deterioration and, in his case, the pandemonium that comes with having 6 kids and numerous grandchildren. He said the car paint washes 100 times better. One particularly noteworthy space is the sitting room next to the formal dining area, where large Christopher Guy chairs and vivid green car paint complement the fireplace. It's functional, daring, and a powerful statement of his taste, a fusion of stylish style and tough functionality. He says it's Rick from Pawn Stars, and the house is a true reflection of that, full of personality and without pretense. Even with its size, the garage was insufficient for Harrison's ever-expanding collection of cars and practical pastimes. That restriction ended up being a major factor in his decision to relocate. In order to better support his burgeoning hobbies and ambitions, he just bought a 1.5-acre ranch property in unincorporated Clark County, with plans to build a 400 square foot garage. The HOA had its boundaries at the house in Red Rock. Harrison jokingly remarked, "The HOA doesn't like me welding and having 1,000,000 machines in my garage." It was a reminder that he used his garage for purposes other than parking. It was for heavy-duty jobs like welding, manufacturing, and machinery that needed more flexibility than a posh neighborhood could provide. The value of this property for purchasers or enthusiasts is found in the thoughtfulness and caliber of its alterations, as well as in its opulent finishes and amenities. Harrison did more than remodel for show. In order to accommodate a busy, multi-purpose lifestyle, he used high-quality materials and a craftsman's taste to customize the house. Every element, from the robustness of the car finishes to the roomy garage infrastructure, was chosen with care. The house offers a unique combination of style, utility, and personal investment that makes it stand out from other high-end offerings. A man who appreciates both heart and horsepower created this house with a backstory. However, what does a garage look like when it serves as the center of a living rather than merely a spot to park? The 11-seat car garage owned by Rick Harrison is more than just a numerical boast. It reflects a well-considered harmony between future planning, personal interests, and lifestyle requirements. The garage also represents a conflict between ambition and space limitations, even though it is currently a component of his 845 square foot luxury property in Red Rock Country Club. As Harrison's interests continued to grow, it became evident that even a facility of large was insufficient. The climate control system in this garage is a crucial but frequently disregarded feature. Temperature control is essential for any serious car collector in a desert climate like Las Vegas, where high temps can harm paint jobs, battery life, and vehicle interiors. A feature like this suggests that the area was planned to maintain Harrison's collection's quality, as well as quantity throughout time. It denotes long-term planning and consideration for the preservation of expensive or historic cars. It's interesting to see that Harrison does not believe the garage will satisfy all of his storage requirements. He just purchased a one. This unincorporated Clark County property is a 5-acre ranch in the Northwest Valley, with plans to install a 400 square foot garage, a significant improvement that illustrates the size of his collection and the access from the present home. A change in lifestyle is also evident in this plan. He pointed out that his industrial interests, including welding and heavy mechanical labor, would be less restricted if he moved to an area without a rigorous homeowner association, or HOA. This indicates that he will be using his new area for more than just storage. It will probably develop into a specific workshop area that is incorporated into his everyday routine. The garage serves as storage for his larger collection of tools and machines in addition to the cars. Harrison deliberately made a joke about needing room for 1,000,000 machines, highlighting the fact that this garage has served as a multi-purpose place that combines elements of an industrial playroom, a mechanical workshop, and a personal museum. The garage's relationship to the rest of the house is among its most distinctive features. Harrison's garage is integrated into the house's general architectural story, in contrast to many upscale garages that are either hidden from view or added as an afterthought. The house has a wine cellar, a gym, specialist rooms, and even a theater with 12 seats. Additionally, the garage is an integrated high-utility component of the house rather than an outbuilding. Given the machinery and welding involved, this implies that Harrison and the original architects or renovators carefully coordinated the design, perhaps paying particular attention to accessibility, power supply, and noise insulation. What secret passion drives Rick Harrison's thoughts when the engines stop and the garage lights go out? We'll tell you. The sound of engines, the shine of old chrome, and tools that hum with stories of devotion and restoration can all be heard when you enter Rick Harrison's garage. However, you might be shocked to learn what drives him once the wrenches are put down if you take a look inside his head. Amid horsepower and pistons, Harrison has a more subdued interest, past. The rough, unvarnished, and occasionally unsettling reality of how common people used to live, rather than merely the opulent goods of kings and castles. Harrison frequently devours novels in the same way that some people binge-watch television shows. Ian Mortimer's The Time Traveler's Guide to Medieval England is a favorite that he frequently suggests. The book immerses readers in the everyday life of the 14th century, far from being a dry textbook. And that's the sweet spot for Harrison. It's a book about ordinary people's private lives, he said, and not in the sterile manner that Hollywood may portray. He laughs and replies, "Oh, life was terrible back then." It only partially conceals his amazement, as he describes how medieval people lived crammed into one-room houses, doing everything from cooking to sleeping to, yes, engaging in open sexual relations. His eyes light up. They all slept in a single, large room. If you were extremely wealthy, you might have a wall in another room that was divided off, he continued. That was luxury. Harrison adores the genuineness of those harsh times. There is a fire pit in the center of the space, no chimneys, no insulation, and no privacy. Soot had darkened the ceilings. They used animal fat tallow to make their candles. They smelled, he said, but to a man who now lives surrounded by slick automobiles, air-conditioned garages, and automotive-grade paint, it was genuine, filthy, difficult, and somehow incredibly interesting. This enthusiasm for historical accuracy is somewhat akin to his fixation with cars. The roots of both interests are the same, whether it's a restored 1940 Chevy or the pages of a well-worn history book, a passion for craftsmanship, an interest in how people lived in the past, and a desire to preserve remnants of the past. It's easy to picture Harrison smeared with oil one minute and flipping across a page the next, exchanging torque measurements for stories about medieval peasants using smoky hearths to boil roots. And perhaps that's the idea. Rick Harrison is more than just a vehicle collector and TV personality. He is a time collector. He roams across decades in silence, revives machinery in his garage, and searches for antiquities in his pawn shop. How could a man who veers between medieval history and contemporary horsepower be satisfied with a car? The other floor is the gas pedal, and the first is in the 14th century. Stay tuned to find out. In addition to being a history buff, Rick Harrison has always had a passion for cars. He gladly gives his 2018 Ford F-150 Raptor, which he drives every day, a flawless score of 10 out of 10. Harrison likes its ground clearance, suspension, and locking rear differential features, which he finds crucial for the 5 months he spends living off the grid in the mountains of Oregon. It is well known for its remarkable off-road skills. I've driven it across the desert at 70 mph. It's a beast, he says. At 50, it can bottom out and continue without any problems. Harrison sees the Raptor as more than just a vehicle. It's a tool for survival. When he's moving fallen trees or traversing difficult logging roads, it tows, hauls, and tackles rough terrain with ease. Despite his affection for the truck, he frequently laments the inconvenient location of the mirror control button, which frequently results in his side mirrors folding inadvertently while he is driving. My mirrors on the freeway fold in as I press the wrong button to roll down the window. He chuckles. Additionally, he remarks that parking in urban areas is challenging because to the additional width, which is roughly 8 inches wider than a typical truck, he jokes that it's like driving around a doubleheader. Harrison loves the Raptor, but his favorite vehicle is his 1940 Chevrolet Special Deluxe, which he had specially made. This vehicle has been altered over 12 years, adding a single engine, air suspension, and a cut canopy. It's a throwback to Hot Wheels and old cartoon magazines, the kind of low-slung, fat-fendered car he used to dream of as a child. Harrison appreciates pre-Wabu automotive design, highlighting the elegance and skill of cars made in the 1930s and 1940s, which he feels were much more fashionable than those made today. Cars had a lot of flair back then. He claims that they were artistic creations rather than merely tools. An immaculate 1966 Imperial Crown convertible that he received from his father is also in his garage. There were only 600 produced, and it cost more than a Rolls-Royce at the time. This 20-ton, 6,000 lb convertible is a treasured part of his father's heritage. Harrison acknowledges that it's similar to operating a boat. He saves it for parades and other events, and hardly ever drives it. However, it continues to be one of his most cherished items. Harrison has a special place in his heart for the Volkswagen Thing, his first automobile. It was the vehicle in which his patient and composed mother, rather than his father, taught him to drive. Due to safety concerns, the Thing, which was initially intended as a military utility vehicle, was only offered for sale in the United States for 2 years. He even finished the restoration himself after receiving a VW item as a gift from the History Channel. He currently drives it over beaches and sand dunes at his property in Oregon, calling it unbreakable and pure pleasure. His teenage journey to Duck Creek Village, Utah in the original VW Thing without a roof or a heater is one of his greatest road excursions. Currently, he continues to travel alone and camp in Northern California, using only a hammock in the open road. Cars are more than simply a means of transportation for Harrison. They are incredibly intimate representations of his history, interests, and spirit of adventure. When the roads stop and the whispers start, what does a man like Rick Harrison create? One very strange story caught the attention of the internet in the whirlpool of today's digital world, where false information spreads more quickly than the truth. Viral videos and clickbait headlines, created by artificial intelligence, claimed that Rick Harrison, the well-known Pawn Star, had been raided by the FBI, taken into custody, and given a life sentence. The storyline of the rumors was dramatic. Charges of money laundering and tax evasion, trafficking in stolen cultural objects, and secret rooms in his Las Vegas house. Sensational images of Harrison in orange prison jumpsuits, or being carried away in handcuffs, helped the films garner millions of views. However, there was only one issue. It was all untrue. The story was quickly refuted by fact-checkers at U.S. Prison Guide, Snopes, and Yahoo. There were no formal charges, no indication of an FBI raid, and most definitely no courtroom spectacle that resulted in a life sentence. These movies purport to be from the Department of Cultural Heritage Protection, which is non-existent in the U.S. Most revealingly, it was discovered that the photos were artificial intelligence, AI, generated fabrications intended to deceive in order to earn clicks and ad income. While the internet was buzzing with this made-up scandal, Rick Harrison was quietly preoccupied with something much more significant and real. He was constructing the garage of his dreams, not any garage, mind you. This project took years to complete. A fully customized, high-tech mechanical sanctuary, designed to be a living, breathing studio for creation and repair rather than just a place to keep cars. The garage, which is hidden away in Las Vegas, is a very personal homage to Rick's lifelong love of all things mechanical. The layout reflects the ambition of the individual who created it. Harrison can easily work on rare antique automobiles and classic muscle cars, thanks to his numerous car lifts. Specialized welding chambers offer room for intricate bodywork and fabrication. Even the most fragile vintage components and interiors are kept in perfect condition, thanks to the garage's climate control system. Every square inch of the room is set up for meticulous workmanship and profound mechanical labor, from precise tool stations to industrial lighting. In addition to being a technical marvel, Harrison finds emotional solace in this garage, following the tragic death of his son Adam in 2024. This area became a kind of therapy and a haven from grief and the outside world after a fentanyl overdose. He finds calm, purpose, and focus in the solitude of tools and torque. This garage is more than just a structure. It represents tenacity. Rick has given every bolt, weld, and design element his all. It is a temple for restoration, where time slows down and forgotten parts of history are brought roaring back to life. According to friends and fans who have seen early glances, Rick has made hints that the garage might potentially be used as a location for upcoming narratives, such a documentary series, podcast feature, or new television program. But for the time being, it's a haven where history is not only appreciated, but also restored, one old vehicle at a time. Therefore, be careful the next time you scroll past a startling article about Rick Harrison receiving a life sentence, because he is only genuinely living out the sentence of passion and tenacity in a bustling garage full of machinery, memories, and the sound of dreams being realized. If you were as taken aback by Rick Harrison's garage as we were, please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any more shocking revelations. We appreciate your time and hope to see you at the next one.